everybody. This is Nick.
And Matthew from Plastic Tombstone.
And this is our official podcast. What is this podcast called?
Are we calling it I Heard Something About That?
I heard something about that. It's kind of our mantra whenever we're talking about things that we don't really know a lot of what's going on.
Yeah. All the little tidbits we kind of scroll through on the internet.
I mean, you can't get all the knowledge, right? So we're trying to retain as much as we can, and then we pass it off as 100% fact. But let's just jump right into it.
Yeah, let's go for it.
There was a bunch of Guardians of the Galaxy news and stuff that came out this week.
There was a bunch of Marvel Cinematic Universe, everything probably this month.
Yeah, the past couple weeks have been pretty heavy. So let's pretty heavy into it.
Yeah, so let's dive right into the spaceship and talk about Guardians of the Galaxy.
There you go. Guardians of the Galaxy announced today, which is, I don't know, Tuesday as we're recording this, that there are 5 end credit scenes at the end of it.
That's insane. I hope James Gunn's brilliant, so hopefully like some of them are kind of just like really goofy.
It's got to be like some sort of like everybody was like, how many is going to have this time? And he just kept adding them in there. And like, how does that happen? Do the credits stop halfway through and then there's one?
Probably. Do you think that like he's going to raise the bar? Like now that he's going to put 5, you think like Thor's going to have like 35?
Man, who knows? It's just because it's like.
So pretty soon the movie's not going to be the actual meat of it. The end credit scene's going to be the meat of it.
You just watch the movie for 20 minutes and then the end credit scene's basically what's...
Another hour.
I mean, I think he said they're setting up a lot of stuff for Avengers and setting up a lot of stuff for Guardians of the Galaxy 3, which he announced earlier this week too, that he is directing the third part after saying he wasn't going to, and now he said he's going to finish off the trilogy. So
good.
It's in good hands because Guardians 1 was excellent, and we will give you a full spoiler-filled review whenever we see it on May 4th, right?
I will definitely be going probably the Thursday to go see it. James Gunn, I'm glad he's directing the third one. James Gunn is an amazing director.
He is. He does really good. And he definitely pulled off the first one. And
he comes from like such humble roots.
Yeah, making independent films and stuff.
Such.
But the success of Guardians has changed some of the Marvel properties, as we saw in the Thor Ragnarok trailer.
Yes.
Did you like that segue? Because I felt like that was a really good segue.
I did. That was
All
good.
right. Let's talk about Thor Ragnarok trailer. That came out like last week.
Yeah. I wasn't a huge fan of the first 2 Thor movies. I thought they were trying to ground them a little. I mean, even though the second one did go a little over the top, it was still, I don't know, something was missing from those movies. This trailer looks like they're going to kind of embrace the ridiculousness of Thor and the whole...
I mean, it's space, right?
Yeah.
Space is, you can't ground space. It's kind of a paradox to try to ground the space.
Well, trying to ground like a guy who's a god.
Yeah, and all kinds of alien races and all kinds of different planets and a rainbow bridge. Come on. Keep it...
Is it the same director? Who's directing this?
No, I don't actually know who the director is.
I like how he's going for like that 80s vibe for the
yeah.
The trailer.
Well, I mean, it worked for Guardians, and it's like that. I think they saw that success, and they saw the idea to sort of embrace, like people are willing to watch the weirdness.
Well, sometimes it's got to take a success story for that to happen, which is, I think, is dumb. I think Hollywood should take more risks.
It's true, but
stop playing it safe. And
I mean, it worked for Logan. After Deadpool, so...
I mean, how many X-Men movies did we go through and Wolverine movies before they finally got a good one?
So many.
So, yeah, I'm really excited to see Thor. I mean, obviously, if you haven't seen the trailer, go check it out. The Hulk is at the end of it. Planet Hulk, man.
Yeah, it's awesome. Planet Hulk was such a good storyline. I'm not a big comic reader. I'm more of a video game player, but I know of the storylines and such.
Yeah.
And Planet Hulk was always an interesting storyline to me. Just like, it's the perfect setting to put him in. And didn't he have, like, a kid? Red Hulk? Didn't he have like a son?
I didn't go deep into the story. I just knew I'm like you. I knew the basic story. I'm not a huge Hulk fan, but
yeah,
Hulk in the movies is pretty good.
Yeah. So, and
I was a little disappointed when I seen the first pictures that they cut Thor's hair off, but seeing the trailer and stuff, it makes more sense.
It makes more sense. Yeah, he kind of looks like he's sort of captured.
Yeah. So
he loses his hammer, and gets dropped on like a desert planet, and then pretty much abducted and thrown into the games, and that's pretty much all you get.
Yeah, I can't wait. That one's going to be awesome, too.
Yeah.
I hope it's as awesome as it looks.
I was singing its praises earlier when I heard like what they were trying to do. Like the director was sort of like, he's not going to not pretend like the first ones exist, but he's kind of he wasn't using them as like stepping stones.
Good.
He was more like embracing.
Because the thing I hated about the first one was just how much like of a love story it was. Like, and they, Thor's...
That was a big selling point back then, though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, they were playing it safe.
Yeah, you gotta get get more dollars in there and stuff
Or
like
you
that.
get a director like James Gunn who's like, screw it, let's go balls to the walls, and
it's working out, man.
it's
working out.
it's like I've said multiple times on, just make a good movie, make an entertaining, fun movie.
Make a good movie and people will see it. And then we saw another Marvel-inspired trailer, the Spider-Man Homecoming trailer. What did you think about that one?
Looks so good. Also, once again, looks really good.
I do have a little bit of gripe about that trailer. I feel like it gave away the entire plot of the movie.
Yeah, it kind of did.
I mean, not that I'm not going to go see it. I think it's.
Well,
I'm already sold on it. But
you kind of already know how that movie's going to play out. I mean,
yeah, but it's sort of implied, if you haven't seen the trailer, that about halfway through the movie, Iron Man takes back Spider-Man's suit, and now
Right.
he has to go back. It's sort of almost like reversed of a regular Spider-Man movie where he has nothing, and then he gets his suit and his better powers. And
yeah, so it's like a new take on an origin story, I guess.
yeah, because he's got to sort of prove himself. Because I feel like in the Avengers they sort of hinted that he had just started being Spider-Man, not like he hadn't been doing it for more than a couple weeks or so, and now he has his suit, but then he has to the suit apparently has a bunch of gadgets on it and stuff that help him. It's very Iron Man. Obviously, it was built by Tony Stark, so it's a very Iron Man inspired suit, which probably helps him out. Which when he has to take a step back because he goes too far, he has to go back to just wearing pajamas. It looked like just a hood, right?
Yeah.
Hood and some goggles.
I mean, this is like the third Spider-Man reboot we've had this fucking decade.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully, I feel like it's going to be the best one.
I hope so. I mean, I loved him in Civil War.
Yeah, he was top notch in Civil War.
He was
one
the
of the best
highlight.
parts.
He was
Yeah.
the highlight of Civil War for me.
Every time I watch that, man, it's just like it's a weird goosebumpy feeling of that, which I never got from.
Because we didn't think we'd ever see it. We thought Sony was going to continue being like, we're going to keep Spider-Man and make it our own, and people just kept rejecting it.
Well, they're talking about now how there's only going to be a Homecoming sequel, and then Sony will retain the rights again. But we'll see how their tune changes if Spider-Man has a big opening weekend, and they're like,
Well, didn't you hear something about Spider-Man being in Avengers 4?
Yeah, he is in Avengers 4, but I'm talking more about Marvel has like a partnership with Sony to
Right.
make these movies with the Marvel characters that Sony doesn't own.
Well,
so,
Sony needs to realize that they're going to make more money working with Marvel. I mean, it's either make more money with Marvel and help them keep him part of the cinematic universe, or make no money.
and it's Disney, and Disney owns it.
Yeah.
And Disney can do no wrong, as we've seen from this week's Star Wars celebration, which just went down. Matt's not the biggest Star Wars fan.
Yeah.
But
So I'll let you throw down
yeah,
on that
I'll
one.
throw down a little bit about it. They basically released a Battlefront 2 teaser, which is basically Battlefield with a Star Wars skin, but this time it has single-player campaign, which you play after the end of The Last Jedi, which is kind of cool because you actually are an Empire soldier, and you're on the ground and you watch the last Death Star blow up, and the story picks up from there.
Wasn't the last Battlefront like kind of a big flop?
It was difficult because it was a beautiful game, but it was just it's just a multiplayer game, and not everybody's really into that, you know? A lot of people like a single player experience. I mean,
Well, we used to play the Battlefront 2 a lot. Like, I'm not a huge Star Wars fan, but I thought that game was kind of fun. So
Battlefront was fun. Yeah, and this is kind of like that. The biggest problem I had with Battlefront, the new one that came out, was it felt a lot like Call of Duty and Battlefield with not enough Star Wars in it, because it's like those games are massively multiplayer, so it's really cool to go be in a big battle. But it's also like if you get shot, then you got another 2-minute walk to get back to the battle, because they don't want people just spawn camping people
Right.
over and over again, so they have to push people further away. But there was things like pickups where you could be heroes, and if you found this pickup, you get to be Darth Vader, which was awesome because you could just pick people up and throw them into TIE fighters and stuff.
I remember in part 2 us being Darth Vader and just
Yeah.
power walking through villages and
Yeah, and it was awesome. But what happens is the people who play it all the time, as every game has, they found where the spawns were and they just waited for them. So you never, if you were playing or just casually playing or wanted to play, you never got to be a hero or you never got to be a TIE fighter, because people just waited by the spawn points where the pickups were, and then they would just jump in them right away. So you had to be a soldier all the time and watch everybody else kind of have the fun, which I hope is something they change, because the few times I got to be a hero, it was really cool.
maybe make it random.
Yeah,
spawn
make
points.
it if you get a certain amount of kills or each time, because what was it? It was that Friday the 13th game did that.
Yeah, that was.
It's like you load up with a bunch of people and just one person gets to be a hero for a little bit once they die.
Yeah.
And I think it's a better way to do it because it gives everybody the opportunity to kind of like experience what the game's about. And I felt like people were only getting partial experience because everybody was hogging all the good stuff.
And it was cool too in that Friday 13th game that people randomly got to be Jason. It didn't like.
Yeah.
Not one person could just constantly be Jason.
Over and over and over again. Yeah. And it was the same way with that game Evolve, which is that's what you want to do with a good game. You want to give everybody the opportunity to play the parts, and I feel Battlefield missed that a little bit. And the big news of the celebration was they released The Last Jedi teaser trailer, which was basically a 2-minute trailer. Didn't really show much. Showed a new planet. Showed a couple shots of the people from the original. And Luke Skywalker talked in this trailer because he didn't talk in the last Star Wars, but he didn't have any lines at all.
Huh.
It was a weird thing because he was hyped in the Force Awakens, like all the originals will be back, and all you get is like Leia and Han Solo, and then at the very end, there's a Luke Skywalker who turns around and dramatically looks at the camera, and that's like the last scene of the movie. So everybody kind of latched onto that and made fun of it. There was a lot of Twitter handles that came from that.
Do you think they'll kill Princess Leia off, like officially, or do you think they'll just be like, she?
I don't know. She was supposed to play a bigger part in 9, but apparently what's happening is they just took her out of the movie altogether.
Mm.
So 8 is coming out, and she's a big part of it, and she was supposed to be a bigger part of the 9th one, but they decided to let it be, and they just sort of rewrote the script without her in it. So, but anyway, the teaser was nice. It was a teaser. It didn't really reveal much, just a bunch of images and stuff. And I'm looking forward to that. I'm a big Star Wars fan, and since Disney took it over again, they're firing all cylinders these days.
Let them go.
Yep. And what else we got?
So you've been playing Zelda a little bit?
Yeah, let's talk about that a little bit. Me and Matt are big Zelda fans, and we both have been playing Breath of the Wild for a while.
Favorite game ever? Like,
it might have ruined me on other games at least a little bit.
I agree, because I tried to play that Shadow of Mordor game you let me borrow.
Mm-hmm.
Can't do it.
Yeah, it's tough, and I think the thing about Zelda that I admire so much is the ability to do... more the ability to go anywhere.
Yeah, pretty much do any... It really barely limits you on anything.
I was trying to play Mass Effect Andromeda because I finally got all 120 shrines. I beat the game. I'm still playing it because I only have 158 of 900 Kokoro seeds. So, shout out to the longest game ever. And I don't know. I like Mass Effect Andromeda. I like the Mass Effect games, but I felt temporarily really restricted, almost like I was out running around in a field for a long time and then somebody stuck me in a closet. It was just this weird claustrophobic feeling where I'm looking at these cool things, but I'm like, well, that mountain's cool, but I can't climb it. And that canyon's cool down there. I can't go down there and see what's down there.
Where's Zelda, man? Like, you see something and you're like, you can go over to it. You can make your way to it and check it out and see what's going on.
Yeah, there's very few places I found you couldn't go, but that's only at the edge of the map.
Yeah,
Everything
I found
else
those
is
too.
Completely accessible. And
there's just so much. There's just so much like random just stuff that you find, and it's.
I'm still finding stuff.
Yeah, it's
weeks and weeks later.
I mean, you've beaten the game, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
I've beaten 2 of the Divine Beasts, but I'm really taking my time with the game. I don't have a whole lot of time to sit down and play it, so I sit down and just explore mostly. Like I just love checking stuff out and seeing what all I can find. It's a game like no other. Like I think it's going to be this generation's like masterpiece.
Yeah, it's fairly excellent, and if you have a Wii U or a Switch, I definitely recommend getting it.
Yeah,
There's
obviously,
no reason not to.
Obviously, Nick is playing it on the Wii U, and then I've got it on Nick is playing on the Switch, and I've got it on the Wii U.
But
still the same game, still worth
the same
playing.
Game, but it's really nice. You can play it on the tablet too, though, straight up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
which speaking of that, I've never really used the tablet.
It's awesome.
Because I never really had a reason to. Because I don't play a lot of Wii U. I like the system. I just don't play it a ton.
Yeah.
Now that I've got this, so I've started using the tablet because I put it in the living room, and the girlfriend will be watching TV or something, and I'll just be sitting there playing it. And I think Nintendo's really onto something. Obviously the Switch is a better system for that, but
yeah.
I kind of it's one of those things like you kind of look at your Xbox and you're like, man, I can only play that when it's attached to the TV.
Yeah. Are you a Mario Kart fan by any chance? I think you're a Smash Brothers fan too.
Yeah, I've got Mario Kart 8.
The Switch will be very interesting when those games come out.
Yeah.
because it would be interesting for me to like literally take my Switch over to your house, link up with you, and just play off my Switch while you play off your TV, and we both playing Mario Kart
Yeah.
full scale without like a split screen. I mean, it's Nintendo might be onto something here. You know, they're definitely capturing that casual game.
Do you think anybody's going to try to be a Zelda killer? Do you think there's going to be a game? Do you think games are going to start trying to be that big and massive? I mean, I know there's like Skyrim and stuff, but to me, even Skyrim doesn't have like the charm or whatever it is about this game. This game feels like a living, breathing world.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. If I'll play devil's advocate, I think if you're not a big Zelda fan and not filled with as much nostalgia, it might not pop as hard.
I don't know. See, I'm not like I've only played a few of the old ones. Like I really like Link to the Past. I've beaten that one, and I've played the first one. Is not my favorite game. I could live without it really.
Yeah.
I never played any of the N64 ones really. I've only watched like videos on them. I really like Zelda. I'm not like a huge Zelda game fan.
Yeah.
But this one,
I think it's the aesthetic though. It's you can definitely tell it's like
yeah.
it's sort of like an anime world almost.
Yeah,
you know,
it's very Hayao Miyazaki
yeah,
feeling.
it feels like a Miyazaki. I mean, did you ever see that Miyazaki Zelda fan-made trailer?
No.
You should watch it. It's like somebody just made it in the style that a Miyazaki would make a film.
Yeah.
And they made a Zelda trailer. It makes you wish it was real, but it was really cool. But the thing that Zelda does is it's not realistic. You know, like I said, I was playing
Right.
Mass Effect, and Mass Effect looks real, but this clearly doesn't look real,
But
but
what-
it feels like a world.
But what if do you think games are going to start trying to do that? They're like make their games feel like worlds, like imagine like a Batman game, you know, like the Arkham games, you could kind of go everywhere, I
Yeah.
guess, but it still felt limited. I don't know, something about it didn't feel.
I mean, I think
I guess because it's just one city, where this feels like, you know, multiple areas or like different worlds.
yeah, and I think the big part of what makes that possible is I think the Wii U and the Switch are pretty powerful systems, but it's a very like not as graphically demanding game. I don't think
It's not,
right?
but it's still an incredible
It's
game to
still
look at.
I'm not doubting it all. The aesthetic is there, but they're selling the aesthetic kind of like Borderlands did.
Right.
Borderlands has the look, and Borderlands probably doesn't have as much processing power as what do you want to call it? Red Dead Redemption did when it was trying to look real. You know,
Right.
if you're trying to look real, you're going to use more power and you're going to use more space, and you're gonna have limitations basically.
Right.
Which I think Zelda's minimal. It's not minimalist. It's obviously a very beautiful game, but it's not as detailed as, you know. You can't walk up to a tree and you're not going to mistake anything in Zelda as something is real.
Right.
Whereas you can walk into some, I don't know, Horizon Zero Dawn, for example, which is a beautiful game and it's an open world game, but it doesn't have as expansive as a world just because it's more graphically demanding.
And that maybe it doesn't have the charm. Like,
Yeah.
The game Zelda definitely has a charm to it.
It does. It's
very Japanese.
very Japanese. It's true, and it's there's not a lot of voice acting in it, and there's not a lot of cutscenes in it. So you're
And you also don't feel like you're ever really being rushed to do anything.
yeah, you're very much on your own timetable, which is something they wanted to do.
Yeah.
And I think some games want to tell a story, so they want to get you on the story path.
Right.
I mean, Zelda is trying to tell a story, I think, because everybody I know ended up at the elephant divine beast first.
Yeah, I think the game kind of pointed me in that direction.
Yeah,
So.
and that's where I ended up too. I mean, I wasn't necessarily going there. It was just like, hey, there was a guy in the water that said, come this way. So I was like, all right. I
Yep.
followed him. But other games are trying to, like I said, Mass Effect is like, here's this mission. You go on it. You get to the end. You go to the next mission. And then the world opens up. When Zelda, you just wake up and, like I said, the first time I played it, I had no clothes because I ran right past the chest because I wanted to go see if I could climb any mountain. I wanted to see if it was real, you know, because they're saying you can go anywhere, and I'm not limited. So we create our own adventure, and you actually really get to tell stories with people about what you've discovered and stuff.
Yeah, that's been one of the fun things. Like we kind of compare what we've found and.
Have you seen that guy? Have you seen that guy?
Yeah. Did you see this? Where I was at, and it's.
And we're not going to spoil it. We're going to do a segment on this podcast called Digging Deeper, which is where we like kind of dissect stuff and go into spoilery stuff. We won't do it on the main podcast. We'll just keep it light and spoiler free for everybody, so you can just kind of listen to it. But if you're interested in that stuff, we'll kind of get people who've played the game And when Matt gets further along in the game and the game's been out a little while longer, we can start talking about that. But it's such a big game.
Yeah, it's amazing.
You can't really see it all so quickly.
Yeah, and if you don't have it, if you're on the fence about getting it, get it. Don't wait any longer.
Don't wait any longer. It's a game to be remembered for sure.
Yeah.
So what else we got? You want to talk about some shows we've been watching lately?
Yeah, let's go for it.
Wait, you had some news about some show that got canceled?
Yeah, Outsiders.
What is that?
Well, it's on WGN, and it's a show about these like people who live up on this mountain. Basically, they've kind of lived there for centuries or whatever, and they kind of I guess mountain people. They don't live like traditional people do. They don't have electricity and all that. And this town's basically wanting to get them off the mountain to get the coal out of the mountains. So it's on its second season, and I guess now they just announced it's going to be the series finale.
That's always rough.
A few shows, and it's it's crazy. It's WGN's highest rated show.
Why are they getting canceled?
Somebody, I guess some new guy took over WGN and wants to have more advertiser friendly content.
It's a fairly popular show, you said, right?
Yeah, I mean it's got the reason I watched it is because my girlfriend's really big into Ryan Hurst, who was in Sons of Anarchy, and
I'm trying to think. I watched Sons of Anarchy. I don't know who that guy is.
He's like the real big guy with the blonde hair and the beard. He played Opie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's in it.
Oh.
So she wanted to watch it, and I was like, I don't know if I like it. And it's actually a really good show. So we've really gotten into it, and I guess.
I mean, if it's their highest rated show and it's a high rated show, somebody will buy it.
Yeah, that's what they're hoping is somebody will pick it up. Netflix, anybody,
I mean, Netflix has been like the godsend of abandoned stuff. I think it just speaks to a huge problem that's kind of overarching through Hollywood and television and everything. It's just, nobody's willing to have anything that takes any risks. Like I said, with the movies, they're playing it safe. The show has some controversial stuff in it. It has some brutal stuff in it. It's a good show. I mean,
and WGN is going to suffer for it because I don't remember the last time or if I've ever watched the channel WGN.
I didn't even know that was a channel. For some reason, I thought you were talking about the WB for a minute, and I was like, oh wait, WGN is a channel. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I hope somebody picks it up for you.
Yeah, it's a good show.
And you get to continue it because,
and
as we said,
if you get a chance, if it comes on Netflix or anything, like you should give it a shot. It's pretty good.
As we said before, Netflix is doing gangbusters. They're releasing original content, buying up properties all the time.
Hit or miss. Some are hit or miss.
Some of them are hit or miss. It's true, but
that's just the way it goes.
I mean, Netflix, I think, is becoming the primary source for most people's viewing.
That's what I'm saying. That's the one thing I'm thinking about. Like, we have cable and we watch Outsiders on the television.
Goes away. What are you going to watch?
It goes away. I mean, it's giving me one more incentive to get rid of cable.
I haven't had cable in 7 years. I haven't missed it. I haven't missed shows either. I just watch them when they come. I like to binge watch shows. It's Netflix kind of created that, but I also like the idea of it. And there's very few shows I don't binge watch because I can't.
Right.
Game of Thrones was one of them. You can't wait for that season to end because everybody wants to talk about it.
Yeah, you also get spoiled. Same thing with Walking Dead.
Yep. And so other things like that, Walking Dead, Breaking Bad, those are shows I watched when they were coming out. But everything else, everybody kind of keeps mum about,
So what do you think about the future of obviously cable's got to go at some point. It's got.
I don't think cable will ever go.
No,
there's people who don't. There are people who like, for lack of a better word, easy entertainment. Just sitcoms, the news.
But do you think it's sustainable though? Like, do you think eventually it's going to get to the point where it can't make any money, like, to stay on the air?
I mean, we've talked about it. We're not fans of The Big Bang Theory. It's not. To me, it's not a good show. Arguably, I've seen a few episodes, and I can say that I don't enjoy it. I also really don't enjoy sitcoms. There's very few sitcoms that I enjoy because I don't believe I need to be told when to laugh.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the thing that bugs me is because, see, it's funny. Everybody's laughing, but it's not real, But that show does so well in cable. It makes more money than any other show, and it's super easy to make. The sets are already there. You just got to write a episode in quotation marks and put it out, and then people will watch it because most people don't. I think 30 years from now, cable might be gone.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't think it's something that's going to be around forever.
Maybe.
What do you think about physical media?
I'm a I'm on the fence sometimes about it. It's based on convenience for me. I'm a collector. I collect a lot of things, so I enjoy having a physical copy of a game, a physical copy of a movie.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's just easier to download it.
Well,
Like,
it is nice to have it like on like Netflix and stuff, but like essentially you're renting it.
Yeah.
Forever.
Well, I mean, I meant more like when I buy an Xbox game.
Oh yeah.
Just because I like the idea of where's the disc? I got to get up and put the disc in. It sounds really lazy to say I don't want to get up and put the disc in, but it's nice to be like you're sitting there watching TV. Oh, I got 5 minutes. I'm gonna turn on whatever game I have, play it for a few, and then cut it off.
Right, but if the internet ever shuts down or something, you're screwed.
You're screwed. It's true. Yeah, if the internet goes down, I lose a lot of what I have, which is why I still buy physical copies of games. Just because, again, I'm a collector. I like having.
I'm the same way with
games.
movies and stuff too. Like I just, you just never know when it's going to be gone. Like
Yeah.
If you're just streaming stuff all the time, it's nice to have something as a backup.
I don't know if it's because I've gotten older, but I don't know if I'm as into movies as I used to be. Not in like a weird way, but I don't multiple view things anymore.
I don't think it's because things now aren't multiple viewable. Like there's not a lot of movies that come out anymore that's, I don't know, something's missing. Like everything is like remakes and stuff now.
Yeah. I mean,
or reboots. Like seriously, like have you looked at like the list of remakes and reboots that's coming out this year?
yeah, it's insane.
It's staggering.
That's beside the point. I meant more like I really enjoy Guardians of the Galaxy. I thought that was an original movie, an original concept. I don't pine to watch it multiple times, you know? I saw it like 2 or 3 times and I'm good. But when I was a kid, I would watch everything multiple times, no matter how bad it was.
I think that's just a kid thing. Like
yeah.
my son will watch, an episode of something like just over and over and over again.
Yeah.
I did the same thing when I was young. I had a Thundercats VHS or Turtles VHS. That's all I'd watch. I just wanted to watch that.
I like movies, and when I watch them, I remember them, and I just go, oh, okay. I liked Doctor Strange, but when I watched it again, I was just like, yeah, I remembered that. That was cool, but I didn't have the same enjoyment as I did the first time I saw it.
Yeah, I don't know. Something's missing in movies now. I don't know if it's like they're too clean or something. I don't know. I don't know what like. I'm with you. Like, I look back on like some of the old classics and stuff like we like to watch. Like, obviously, like the Evil Dead movies for me. Like,
yeah. I might actually have spoken too soon. There are 2 movies that came out recently that I can watch anytime somebody puts it on. One of them is John Wick, the original, which was...
I still need to watch that.
It's excellent. It's excellent. There's something about that it seems like a very personal movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's very good, very well shot. The action choreography is amazing. John Wick 2 is just as good. And then there's Mad Max Fury Road.
I've also been meaning to watch that one too. You told me about that one.
You can turn that on with no sound and I would watch it. I don't know what it is about that movie. It's extremely watchable.
Both those movies don't have a lot of CG, right? Or none, right?
None really.
See, maybe that's a thing. Maybe we're getting kind of sick of seeing our movies be relegated to mostly just computer shit.
I think I'm sick of seeing end of the world consequences.
What, like a giant beam going into the sky?
Like a giant beam going into the sky.
That's the end of every fucking movie.
It is. It was the the end of the Avengers.
Yeah.
It was a portal, giant beam in the sky. End of the Turtles movie, giant beam was gonna wipe some gas. Yeah.
It's like a running theme in Hollywood to be attacked by a giant beam from the sky.
I think I'm over like watching cities crumble. I think I would have loved that as a kid. It would have been cool, like thinking of the Avengers like fighting in a big city and all this destruction. Even the first Avengers, watching it was like, yeah. But then it felt like everybody felt like they had to do that after the Avengers was such a success that you just kept seeing end of the world destructed cities over and over again. And now I feel like I can't tell them apart. And they're making another Transformers movie. And Michael Bay says he has an idea for 14 more.
Oh, my God.
We're going to have 19 Transformers movies. But I'm just saying, I'm tired of end-of-the-world consequences, and I think John Wick and Mad Max Fury Road didn't have end-of-the-world consequences.
Well, they were pretty, like, what's the word I'm looking for?
Centrally focused?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's about one plot, and that's it, and it's not trying to make a bunch more movies. It's not trying to link it all together, because that's the one thing I feel like Marvel does a little bit too much, is they try to get you to buy the next ticket
Well,
before you go see.
I really wish Marvel would be the only company that would really do that. Like, I hate that like all these other companies are like, let's make cinematic universes because Marvel's doing it. It's like, just let Marvel do their thing. You guys just make good movies.
Well, the only one that wants to do it is DC. I mean, other people are trying to do
Sony
it.
wanted to do it with the Ghostbusters.
Yeah, and that didn't work out.
Nope.
But I mean, it's
What a waste, man.
We're talking about Netflix shows, and I started watching on your recommendation and many others that 13 Reasons Why show.
Yeah. We just finished it last weekend. Depressing.
Is it depressing?
It is.
I'm on like the third episode.
It's a heavy show, man, and I like it for that. Like maybe that's what we're missing in movies. Like I think we're missing like really good tragedies.
Yeah, there's not a lot of tragedies these days.
I mean, really look at like some of the best movies like are tragedies. Like those are the ones that really stick with you.
John Wick's a tragedy.
There you go. I
Yeah.
mean,
it's sort of a tragedy.
look back like even like The Crow and stuff. Like it's a tragic movie about a guy who loses someone he loves and kind of comes back. And
yeah.
I think we're missing like the tragic part. Like nobody really dies anymore. Like it has any kind of impactful deaths in their movies.
Yeah. I mean, that might be coming back though.
It's like a War Machine got paralyzed in Civil War.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a bummer.
It's like somebody needs to die.
The things I've heard about the way certain directors wanted certain Marvel movies to go, and the way Disney sort of let them.
Yeah.
It's I don't know. It's a very merchandise standing, but it's also like a very kind of easy way out almost. It's like Josh Whedon, who famously directed Firefly, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and all that stuff, and he did the Serenity movie, which was Firefly, the movie, because the show got canceled, but he still had a story to tell. He killed one of the main cast by the end of the movie. Spoiler alert for Firefly, the movie, which came out like 25 years ago. But he did it, and it was very impactful. I remember it to this day. I remember seeing that character throughout the series and throughout the movie, never thinking he was going to die, and there he was. And since Josh Whedon did Avengers 2, he wanted to kill Black Widow at the end of it, and he was told no. But imagine the impact it would have had on Bruce Banner and everybody else had she died.
That was my problem with Iron Man 3. It's like Pepper Potts comes back with like superpowers, and I was like, imagine the weight of that scene if she had actually died.
Yep.
Like, just imagine like what Tony Stark would have felt. And when she comes back, it kills the whole mood. It pretty much killed the whole movie for me at that point. I was like, I don't feel anything. It's just
I really enjoyed Iron Man 3 up to that point because I thought it was unnecessary to have her make a comeback.
Yeah, I was like, I would have loved to have seen her die, and Tony Stark kind of have to live with that.
But things may be coming back around because I recently saw Rogue One, which is a Disney movie.
Yeah, I heard it was really depressing.
It is really dark. And spoiler alert, sorry, if you haven't seen Rogue One, you probably didn't want to see it. And you should know if you're a fan anyway, but everybody dies.
That's what I heard.
It's a suicide mission, and they actually it's a funny story about that because the original trailer they released had a bunch of scenes in it because they shot a entirely different ending where a bunch of them survived because they didn't think Disney would let them have that ending.
Wow.
And so all that stuff's in the trailer, and then it never shows up in the movie. So it's really weird to watch the movie and then go, where was that scene? Where was that scene? Where was that scene? And then it's a big thing. There was about 13, 14 minutes of footage just they didn't use.
Huh.
But they let Disney do it. They let Gareth Edwards, who did Godzilla, he directed that movie, and they let him do it and make the ending that was supposed to be. And it was very poetic the way it happened, and it was exactly the way it was supposed to happen. It made the movie so much better. If people would have escaped, I would have been like, not as interesting as what actually happened because it was an actual tragedy. And these people knew what they were doing when they went in there, and they knew how it was going to end, but they did it anyway, and that was part of it. And like you're saying, this 13 Reasons Why, it's impactful. From the 3 episodes I've seen, there's a weight to it.
Yeah, there is.
It's a big mystery what's going on, but it's also like there was real world consequences on what happened.
Yeah.
And you're trying to find out what's happening, which is the point of the series, but it feels real.
And I'll tell you, like, there's some scenes in there that the show could have easily kind of went around without like having you see some stuff. The show makes you sit through some stuff that's pretty brutal that normally you wouldn't want to see, and I think it's very impactful. It's like,
yeah, I'm really interested to get through it because it's one of those that I'm like, I really want to just keep watching it.
Yeah, that's the way we were too. And it's like it's an hour long. It's 13 episodes, so it's a lot.
It takes a little while to get through.
Yeah, it's very dark though. It's just, and it also it kind of makes you think back to when we were in school. You know, like a lot of things were way more important to us then. Like it makes you think back to like you know watching it now. You may look at it and be like, well, that's dumb. They shouldn't be upset about that. Or
but you weren't a kid. You're not a kid now. You were a kid then.
Yeah, and you're a kid. Obviously, that was your world.
Yeah.
And it really speaks to a lot of like the way people treat people in school and kind of the factions that kind of went around school. And it's a really good show, and it's really dark and depressing, and
I'm hoping
I love it.
I imagine we'll be getting through it by the end of the weekend, but yeah. So far so good. I just we stopped to do this podcast, but I was in the middle of watching an episode when you came over, so I'll continue that when we're done.
So yeah, more tragedies.
More tragedies. Speaking of a not tragic movie. Let's dig deeper here. So this is full spoilers for Power Rangers, the movie.
Get the shovel.
Get the shovel.
We're digging deeper.
That's my digging sound.
We're digging up the grave by the Plastic Tombstone.
There you go. Perfect. But anyway, full spoilers for Power Rangers. We saw it 3
weeks ago.
3 weeks ago or so when it came out. So people who know us,
we dogged this movie
dogged this movie a lot. Our sister podcast, Pop Culture Geekly, we talked about it for probably
2 months or so.
2 months straight, just harping on
everything that came out about it. We just dogged.
Just dogged and dogged and dogged. But pleasant surprise.
It wasn't terrible.
It wasn't as terrible as we thought it was going to be.
It wasn't like a masterpiece, and it definitely is not something I'll probably ever watch again.
Yeah, but it could have been way worse.
Yeah, it was actually okay. Like it had decent character development, which is pretty much the whole movie.
Yeah, the whole movie.
That if I had one really big complaint, it was that like there's an hour and 10 minutes of character development and then 20 minutes of Power Rangers.
Yeah, which
whereas the old show when we were watching it, like the first episode, within 3 minutes they'd already morphed and or building the Megazord and
yeah, it was nuts. Yeah, in 15 minutes the Power Rangers did what the movie couldn't do in like an hour and a half. But like you said, let's talk about some of the parts. Like the movie starts out pretty simply. It's just a bunch of kids having a bunch of different problems. And they all meet up in detention essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And Billy. Sort of.
He's like autistic or something.
He's sort of he's on the verge of autistic.
And he's not like an annoying character in that way either. Like they didn't make it to a point where you're like, oh fuck, they're just trying to be diverse or something. Like he's actually he came off pretty well with the character.
He was probably my favorite character in the movie.
Yeah.
He definitely came off as likable, and he's definitely he was sort of the heart of the movie almost, right?
Yeah,
he's and also what brought everybody together.
And also the comic relief.
Yeah. And
so essentially, he was everything.
Yeah, he was everything, and all of them did good. All of them did surprisingly good, actually. I was like,
the Black and Yellow Ranger didn't have a ton of character development.
They didn't have a ton of character development, but when they did, it felt real. Like the Black Ranger the whole time, Zach, he is every time you see him, he's sort of making jokes and he's sort of not taking anything seriously, and he's doing that, but then you find out like he's taking care of his very sick mother, and he's really afraid that when she's gone, what's he going to do? And there was a whole scene around like a campfire where they were talking about all their problems and stuff, and it was just like, it felt like a lot of real world stuff that actually goes on today.
Yeah, and then
it didn't feel like forced to me.
Yeah, and then giant dinosaur robots.
Then giant dinosaur robot battle. Yeah, so it was like this character movie, and then all of a sudden it was like, well, I guess we got to get started.
I guess we got to do this Power Rangers thing. Here's a bunch of ridiculousness. There's a big gold statue monster.
And that was my big thing about it, was like I felt like all the Power Rangers stuff they showed in the trailer.
Yeah, and
you didn't really see anything like, whoa, that was cool. It was just like, oh, the Zords were running, they were jumping on things, they were shooting things.
And it didn't really feel like, it felt like they learned a lot about themselves personally, but it didn't really feel like they learned how to be Power Rangers. They just kind of suddenly were Power Rangers.
It's true. And then all of a sudden they had like one little fight scene, and then they jumped in their Zords, which they knew how to pilot immediately.
Yeah, it's like they didn't really get a chance to really figure out how to be Power Rangers, like fighting. Like they fought putties, but it was in Zordon's little
training. Yeah, but let's talk about that, because Zordon was a pleasant surprise in that movie.
Zordon's a dick.
Yeah, he was not this malevolent, nice talking floating head like he was in the original series.
And you get a cool
more like-
backstory for him too. I thought that was
yeah,
really
he
cool.
was he was the original Red Ranger, and the Red Ranger is always the leader. And
Essentially, he starts off trying to use the Power Rangers to bring himself out.
yeah, because he's stuck in the morphin grid. So there you go. He's stuck in the morphin grid, and he wants to get out. So if he gets the Rangers to all morph, then he can come out because he thinks he's the only one who can stop Rita. And it turns out he's not, because they're Power Rangers. It was
They're
really
teenagers
nice.
with attitude.
It was a nice switch because you thought he was just going to be this guy who just taught him how to be Power Rangers, and that was it. And he had
Rangers, use your power.
he had a little more of a story than he.
Even Alpha 5 was kind of enjoyable.
Yeah, I
It
mean
was-
the whole movie could have been a bigger train wreck than it was, and I think I would give it a solid, I don't know, 7 out of 10.
I don't know if I'd go. Yeah, maybe 7. Yeah,
I just based my enjoyment on it, you know,
I
not
think-
like
I think it was I think a lot of us, we went into it with such low expectations.
it's
too.
true, and that does make make a big difference in movies.
Because if we and you went in there thinking, "Oh, hell yeah, Power Rangers," and we saw that, we'd probably been like, "Wow, that was really boring."
Yeah, it was like no Power Rangers in it at all. I mean, kids might have been bored by it. Who knows?
Yeah, it was definitely teetered a line. Like,
Yeah, it was almost like teen angsty, kids, adults.
but you know, look at the first Ninja Turtles movie. Look how dark and kind of
that's where most people learned the word "damn."
that's
where
where
I
I
learned the
learned
word
that.
damn.
I learned it was cool to scream "damn."
Damn.
But I mean, it wasn't like a super like up in your face like oh hey movie. I mean, it had fight scenes, but
Yeah.
it was still dark. And as a kid, it blew my mind. So who knows?
My girlfriend says it all the time, is that like those movies, they're kind of made for us, but not really. They're made for the next generation of Power Rangers fans. So
Right.
I'm interested to see where it goes from there, because they wanted a 6-picture Power Rangers universe thing. Again, another universe, but we'll see how that goes, obviously. I mean, it did all right.
Yeah,
It didn't do like terribly, but it didn't. I don't remember it like shattering any records or anything like that.
well maybe they'll pick up on the mistakes they made on this one and fix them in the
You
next
got to
one.
see Tommy.
Yeah, the end credit scene is oh no,
It was like
you get to see actual Jason David Frank and
Jason Dave Frank
and
Kimberly.
Amy Jo Johnson.
Yeah, they were waving in the crowd at the Power Rangers, something like that, right?
Yeah,
Some awkward.
but the after credit scene is the teacher calling for Tommy Oliver.
who's not in the class, but he's
Yeah,
the green jacket.
His green jacket was
and you
sitting
know
there.
he's coming.
Green Rangers.
Which I hope they do the
The next
green
one,
story.
yeah, the next
Green
one
Ranger
should be
storyline?
the next one should be a full Green Ranger saga, which would be awesome.
Yeah, I hope they do what they did with the Turtles movies and tweak those costumes a little bit.
I hope they get somebody as handsome as Jason David Frank.
Oh God! So Matt might have a man crush on the
Doesn't
original
everybody?
Green Ranger. No, I don't.
What?
I have no interest in Jason David Frank as like a man. None whatsoever. He's a fine Power Ranger, but I don't know if I have like some sort of affinity for him. He just looks like a dude to me.
What didn't you like idolize him as a kid when you're like, man, he's like the fucking
No.
coolest.
No, I did
He's
not.
got a ponytail and he knows karate.
No, I idolize Nicolas Cage because
What?
no, that's a joke. I was gonna go into a Wicker Man reference, but I'm too old
God.
for that.
Oh God.
But no, I don't. I don't think I had a man crush on anybody ever.
Okay.
You met him before, didn't you?
I
This is gonna be awkward if you ever meet him again.
didn't meet him. I've been to a few conventions like close to him. Like
Oh, you never like went and got his autograph or
no,
anything like that?
no.
We got anything else to talk about?
No, I think it wraps it up.
Word. Good first podcast.
Cool. See you later.
This is not our first podcast, obviously. So check out Pop Culture Geekly. It's on SoundCloud right now.
It is.
And Corey's probably going to be on this podcast.
Yeah,
now
we'll
and again.
have some people here and there.
We're adult men boys who don't all have the same days off sometimes. So we're trying to make this work by getting everybody here whenever we can get them here. You know.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah. Anyway, check out our YouTube channel.
We do all kinds of stuff on there.
Yeah, we got something called PT's Toy Box, which we've been doing a lot lately, which is me and Matt unboxing game crates and reviewing toys. And
Yeah.
we just put up the Raphael NECA figure.
Pissing people off with.
Yeah, people don't like our reviews sometimes because we try to give honest feedback about what we're getting, and because sometimes what you get in these loot crates and stuff is not the greatest thing in the world, you know?
Yeah, just because you got it doesn't mean you have to pretend like it's awesome. We don't want to be one of those YouTubers that are just trying to get endorsements and stuff, like just trying to highly praise everything. Like,
well, you can't like everything. That's the thing.
Right.
There has to be. Nobody can trust your opinion as a reviewer, as a personality online, if you're not honest about what you get.
right.
And if you like everything, then how do they know the stuff that you don't like? And how do companies know? Not that we're going to change anybody's mind, but if 100 videos are saying they like some Pac-Man bow tie that came out of a box, and true people aren't, when those people aren't really enjoying the Pac-Man bow tie, they just don't really want to say that they don't enjoy it, you know?
Right.
It's, we're not trying to hurt anybody's feelings. We're just being honest about the things that we like, and we're older than some people, so
Yeah.
we know what we like at this point.
We've been collecting stuff for
25 years?
for a long freaking time.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks for listening. Please like and subscribe and all that good stuff.
Check us out on all social media where you can find us randomly posting this and that and chat with us.
Yeah. Hit us up with a comment. We read them all, so
Yeah.
if there's something game you want us to play or something you want us to talk about, let us know. We'll try to fit it in.
You want to jump in on our podcast? Just
Give me a shout.
$20.
Yeah, if you're not a terrible person, you can come to my house. Anyway, we'll see you next time.
Stay groovy.
I want to do a quick intro then.
Tommy Oliver Man Crush Hour.
You're like, he's the greatest. I'm like, what? What happened? We'll just throw this intro in here. Let's try a couple things and see how it goes. Hello, everybody. This is Nick.
And Matthew from Plastic Tombstone.
And this is I Heard Something About That, our official podcast.
Hey, I heard something about that.
I heard something about that. I heard something about our official podcast. I said it too many times. God damn it. That was really good until I said it again. All right. Hello, God, what was that? Hello. Wow. French sauce, sweetheart.
French house, sweetheart.
French sauce. Wait, well, should I put that at the beginning of like the podcast and just go, wow, and then the music starts playing? Everyone, I'm sorry, the most annoying thing ever. Hello, everybody. This is Nick.
And Matthew from Plastic Tombstone.
And this is I Heard Something About That, our official podcast.
Hey, I heard something about that.
Yep. We're trying to do a weekly podcast now about the nerdy things that we kind of remember throughout the week.